So welcome, everybody. I am so excited to hear that this breakout session has had so much interest. For those of you who were at my table during lunch, I know there was a little bit of a concern about being in the presence of a manners expert and whether I was going to be looking over everybody's shoulder during their meals to see whether they were eating properly. And I want to put you all at ease from the get-go to let you know that that is not my brand of good manners and good etiquette. The one nice / not so nice thing about what I do is there will always be plenty of work for me because there are plenty of bad manners out there. Of course, I want to eradicate as many of those bad manners as I can, but certainly the bad manners are out there and they're legion. What would you all think is kind of the #1 technology complaint when it comes to manners? It's the one that I kind of get all the time. Anytime I do a conference or anytime I do a TV engagement, it's one of the things that always comes up. Cell phones, yeah, it's it. I mean, they're with us wherever we go. So 29% of you say that your phone is something you cannot imagine living without. How many people would agree with that? Don't be shy. I would say it's probably me too. I don't know how, especially as somebody who's constantly traveling and out and about, it'd be very difficult to deal without a cell phone. Interesting, 11% worry that they're spending too much time with the phone, and 44% sleep with the phone next to the bed. It's the first thing they see in the morning. Now, forget whatever radiation they might be absorbing during the night if it's under their pillow, but people are, then the study goes on to talk about how they're checking for messages in the middle of the night so people aren't sleeping. Give yourself a rest. Allow yourself to dream and enjoy a well-deserved sleep at the end of the day. You spend enough time looking at an LCD screen during the day. You don't need to be doing it at night. But the smartphones, in some way, they're allowing us to be connected on the one level, and yet they're completely disconnecting us from the people that we're with. So here are some statistics on cell phones. So 85% of Americans own a cell phone. 45% of those, and it's only increasing every year, are smartphones. So it's really no wonder that they are intruding on our lives the way that they do. And again, it's about the importance of owning the device and not allowing the device to own you. Now, I actually had in my remarks here, I was going to ask, but I can see that it hasn't happened, and I'm hugely impressed. I was going to ask how many of you, since I've started speaking, checked Twitter, checked email, checked the, and you know what? A plus to you guys. Maybe it's because you're in my session and you're a little bit worried. But I have not seen one kind of illuminated blue face from below the table, you know? I mean, there's a reason why people do that under the table, because they know it's wrong, and they think somehow, oh, well, nobody's going to notice if I do it this way. Well, you know what? You're only bringing more attention to yourself. So this problem has gotten so bad that technologies and ways of skirting it are cropping up, and a whole new cottage industry has arisen as a means of saying, okay, well, people can't be trusted with their phones. What do we do? How do we ensure that they don't use their phones? So I don't know if any of you have seen this. It's called the Celllockup. Has anybody seen this advertised or in stores? I think Target sells it. It's basically, it looks like a children's toy, but it's essentially, it's a plastic cage that can hold up to 6 cell phones. And everybody has to kind of, you're at the party, you're out to dinner with your friends. I mean, I can't imagine having this in a restaurant, but so be it. You put your cell phones on this little platform, you lock them in jail, and you set the timer. And you say, okay, for 30 minutes, nobody's touching their phones. And if you try to extract one of your phones before the time is up, this little warden's voice comes on and says, alert, 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 a little siren goes off. So this is and it's only $19.99. So this is what it's come to, that companies are arising to serve a ridiculous need. I mean, is it really this pathetic that we don't have enough control over our own actions, that we need to lock our devices away in a plastic cage, otherwise we can't trust ourselves not to use them? It's time for us to stop phoning it in. So leave it off or leave it at home if you're going to the theater. If you must, excuse yourself. If it's that emergency phone call, your sister-in-law is having a baby, you put it out there at the beginning, say, I'm so sorry, I just need to let you guys know I might need to leave the room. My sister's having a baby. That way you're not sitting there and holding everybody else hostage to your conversation. Can it wait till later? Probably, right? In most cases, these calls are never really emergencies. I mean, do we think of ourselves as doctors who are on call, and that if we miss a single phone call or a single text, the world is going to come crumbling down? Most likely not. And when all else fails, I recommend the Cellphone Stack.
Well, this Cellphone Stack here, this is a great concept. This is something kind of new, where everybody at the start of the dinner agrees they're going to put their cell phones in the middle of the table, turn them off, and the first person who feels they have to reach for the phone pays for the meal.
I like that. I like that a lot. Do you think you might be the person to reach for it? I might. I might be guilty of that.
And one of the beautiful things about manners is that they have this dual purpose. They make you feel good about yourself because you know you're doing the right thing and you feel good. Like when you write a really good thank you note and you pop it in the mailbox, you feel like, wow, I just did a good thing. And whether it's appreciated at the level you want it to be or not, you can feel good about yourself. But the dual purpose is that it actually means that with the thank you note, people are going to remember you next time when it comes to buy a gift. Or you say thank you and please and sorry, and you know what? They're going to treat you with a little bit more respect. We've all seen the person at the airline counter who's furious that there's been a weather delay and they're raising a storm, and then the next person comes along and says, yeah, gosh, boy, so sorry about this. I see you've got 500 people that you're trying to rebook flights on. Here's my scenario. If there's anything you can do, I know you're swamped. If I'm the person standing behind the counter, who's going to get the service? It's going to be the person who was kinder and more understanding than the person who was obnoxious. I would love to stay in touch with all of you. I will stick around for questions. Please feel free to email me questions you might have. I have cards up here. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, all the wonderful social media outlets that I know you use in a mannerly way, and now especially more so. Thank you so much for coming.